We're live.
Hey.
Hello, everyone. This is Comic Talk
Howdy.
Live.
Right,
How are
we're
you
on
guys
your
doing?
channel.
Are we
We're on
doing
my
this
channel.
live?
We are live.
This is not pre-recorded.
No.
Oh, I just got a
Farts.
notification on my YouTubes that Fire Guy Ryan is live now.
That's us. That's here. We're here to talk comics.
Oh, someone else got a notification.
Wow. Well played, you guys. This is a professional operation here.
That's how we roll.
Oh, we got people in the chat already. That's exciting.
Yeah, there's a lot of
I
people. in the
know.
chat. That's what happens when you schedule your video ahead, Ryan.
Hi. Thank you.
Oh
yes.
goodness,
I'm-
called
I'm-
out.
Yeah, that's what she does. That's okay. I'm a professional victim.
Hey,
How I roll.
well, you had a nice thumbnail tonight. Finally,
I know.
Yeah,
rather than
thanks
rather
for
than
showing
that.
us.
Someone.
It took me
That's
forever to
just
make
weird.
it. Yeah. I had to learn a whole bunch of photo things, and Tessa totally didn't help or make it all herself or anything. It's just me.
I'm gonna go ahead and call this out really quick because
That's
in our
fair.
group chat we had the picture and Ryan showed it and he's like, yeah, Tessa chose a really good picture of herself and I, and basically Greg and Jennifer, you look like shit. You look like shit bozos on there.
That's what I said.
That's
I'm like,
literally basically
really?
what
Why?
he said.
I called them bozos.
I take
Bozos.
pictures of everyone's Instagram, and it's not Greg's fault that every single post of himself that he has is a thumbnail Suzalu. Which is really
Thumbnail
funny.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to make the pizza face of me, but it didn't work because like it was too wide. But I tried to make mine like dumb.
That's fair.
Oh no, it beautiful. Chef's
Whenever
kiss.
you make a post on Instagram, you have to be a little self-deprecating. Otherwise, people think you're full of yourself.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
that's how you seem so humble and nice.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Eating
Well-
bags of shit with these.
Jen gets
I
it.
chose the okay.
Okay.
drink. All right.
Okay.
What are we talking about first?
Comics.
This book.
Comics.
This is the book we're talking
Which
about.
is only fitting because look who just popped up in the chat.
Oh, it's Mars.
It's Mars.
You're just in time for the best book. Or the book
Yeah,
that you
for
that you
real.
and Greg love. I love it. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you start then, Ryan?
We're talking Wonder Girl, issue number 5. You guys, yeah. This is the only cover to get. By
Yeah.
the way, Greg.
Wait,
I
Greg,
know.
what did you do?
Are you
What did
part
I
of
do?
the Dara Floor fan club if you don't get the Jenny Frizen cover?
So here's what happens. I actually have the Jenny Frizen cover. It's in my
Mhm.
box at the store. I just didn't want to pay for it yet.
I
Okay.
don't want to call you out, but I've done that before.
Fair.
I'll accept that.
And so I got this one so I could come home. I had a stack of 16 books. And so I was just like, hey, let's just keep this next week. He's like, I don't care.
This was a really small week, I feel.
Oh,
For you, maybe. I had a big week.
Well,
I had a big
problem
DC
is-
week.
my problem is DC decided to go on all the annuals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're
At the same
expensive.
time.
Yeah.
But
All at once. Although there wasn't a Wonder Girl annual.
well, I feel like
should
there
have been.
haven't been enough issues yet for them to justify doing an annual.
True.
Fair.
But
That's
they
fair.
did do a Robin, and that's only like what 2 more issues.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
That one
No.
felt very justified though because it's a tournament of a bunch of like characters that people probably aren't familiar with, so it's kind of breaking them down.
yeah,
Do they do the annual and the single issue the same week also? Would it be weird for them to do Wonder Girl 5 and Wonder Girl annual
think
on the
it
same
would've
day?
been.
Probably.
I don't think they did that for any other books today or this
They
week.
did
No,
the
'cause
Suicide
the-
Squad one earlier this year.
yeah, because Detective came out early, it was last week, and Batman's
Mhm.
coming out next week.
Okay.
And
So,
I
yeah,
think,
maybe.
yeah, Catwoman did one, and they did one like the week before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It was really close.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Anyway.
we digress.
Wonder Girl 5. That's over here. Camera's over here. This book, I was on the record, or at least on the record when I was talking with Tessa like 20 minutes ago while I was reading it. I mentioned that like this book, I like this book, but it is mainly due to the Joelle Jones artwork. And like I was complaining that Joelle Jones was not on the art in this issue, and that it bugged me, and that I wouldn't like it when she's not drawing it.
I
But
believe she's partially on the art. I believe she does some parts. I could be wrong.
I
But I'm pretty sure
checked.
she's like a half art credit.
I checked when I did my live stream on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure she's just doing the story. But the art is pretty similar. Like,
Yeah, right, I'm sorry. I was reading the preview. You want to say that?
Did she not do the? Did she do the art still on issue 4, or did they make that switch then?
That's the
No,
one.
that was the partial.
Okay,
Because that's the one I was looking. I only looked at that one when I was looking at them. Yeah.
Okay, so I was gonna say because I felt like issue 4 that might have been where the partial was because on this one it's fully crediting.
I read them both at the same time, so I just looked at one credit, not the other.
At the same time or back?
Yeah,
to back?
I had one and I was dual wielding.
Oh,
You have 2
wow,
eyes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm impressive.
you can read twice as fast.
That's how I read faster than you, Ryan.
That's
Yeah,
right.
and that since you brought up issue 4, that panel where Yara 4 just is like walking into the throne room in full gear, you're like,
boss.
That's why
Yeah.
I wanted to. So I was going to talk about how much I love her cloak look. It was fully because the last issue was the one that like opened it up for me. But like, damn,
Show it
she
again.
looks so like.
Show
Am
it
I
again.
first on the show?
There you go.
She
Yeah.
looks so badass. Like I'm obsessed. Like her with a cloak and a sword. Like I want her to step on me.
Yeah.
Did you say you want her to step on you?
She gets it. It's fine.
Okay, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just.
Mommy, sorry. Mommy,
Okay.
sorry.
I got you. I see what's happening.
Yeah.
Barely.
do you?
No, I'm just nervous, and I lie when I'm nervous. But yeah, this book, I don't love stories about like gods and mythology, and like this has a lot of god politics.
I feel like
Which
it's
is
starting
like-
to branch off that with how they ended it.
I like where it's going. It
Yeah.
seems to be building some sort of conflict between the different like warrior women societies, or like building towards like some kind of fight or war or something. Which I like I like that potential path, but like I don't know. I really want to love this book, and I don't hate it, but it's like in like the 7 out of 10 range for me.
I think
Depending on
that
the art.
the first couple of issues were so slow, and I feel like we say this every single time, or at least I say this every single time we talk about this book each month, where it's like the future state Wonder Woman or Wonder Girl was just so fast paced. It was 2 issues, so it literally like you had to pick it up where it was and then just kind of like roll with it. Where this book, it started off slow, and I'm like, oh, I already love this character. It's okay if it's slow. And then issue 2 is still slow, and issue 3 was still slow. And I'm like, I don't really care for this. I think that this finally picked up, and I think this has been my favorite issue so far, just because there's so many action scenes that make sense. Whereas if there was an action scene in the first first or second issue, it was like in the middle of a really slow issue, but then the action scenes really made sense in this.
Yeah, I do feel like it tends to be slow, and then it like all comes together at the end. So it's like a really slow book, and then like the last little bit of it is much more up to speed. But also going on the badass woman thing, I really think is it Hera who looks like a peacock? Because I dig her look too.
Yes.
That one's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's finally getting to the parts of Yara 4 that we appreciated in Future State. We're actually seeing her where we were first introduced to her a little bit, at least a little bit more in the, owning who she is, which is a boss chick, right? Like, that's, and
Like her sassiness.
yes.
Mm-hmm. The way she like dumps out her drink at the beginning and everything, I just like kind of fell in love with her all over again. It's like, yeah, there she is. That's my favorite character.
Like, if that's not just the most boss move ever, she just holds out and is like,
Is there pineapple in this? I'm really allergic. She's so cute.
I will say, I think this will be a hard series, or at least these last couple issues, I feel like are going to be a hard series for someone who isn't familiar with Wonder Girl and, the other iterations of Wonder Girl and, Wonder Woman mythos, because I think there's a lot of where, if you're reading it going, wait, who is this person? Who's this
Yeah.
Wonder Girl? What is she doing? Why are they?
Specifically the Cassie, yeah.
Yeah.
They did not like introduce her in any way at all. Really, they're just like, yeah, here she is.
Yeah, I feel like it's fine because
And they don't use her a lot in general now, so it makes it like really hard.
but it's kind of almost like, hey, you should know who this character is a little bit, and
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a hard sell to people who aren't in that world as much.
Yeah, the
and
last
that can
page,
get
like
lost in.
Donna Troy reveal on the last page for me was like,
Spoiler alert.
yeah, spoilers. We talked spoilers. I vaguely understand that she's a Titan. I believe she's on the Teen Titans,
Mhm.
and like it didn't like land for me at all because I have no familiarity with the Titans characters or Wonder Wonder Girl, Wonder Woman characters, really.
Right.
Wonder
I'm
Girl 4.
excited for that, actually. I feel like it's going to be a really good thing for her. I feel like she's been used in group books. Like, she's in Titans United right now, but they don't really do anything with her in any of the books I've read of her in the last, 5+ years. Like, she's just there. They don't do anything with her character, so I feel like this might be a good step for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the most utilized her character has been, I feel like, in comics. It hasn't even been in comics. It's been in the TV show.
The show, yeah.
They really utilized her character in
And
that.
I liked her in that.
I think one of my favorite moments in this, kind of talking about Wonder Girl's personality coming through in this, I loved the moments with her and Jerry, the horse. So there's, and I can't remember if is this one of the first times we've actually seen Jerry show up, or did Jerry show up in the previous issue?
Jerry was in issue 4 because she
Okay.
was trying to tame Jerry in issue 4, I believe. And that's, but this is where you see her in that, basically is in the she tamed him at the end of issue 4, and this is her first foray, I think.
Yeah, where she's like, okay, like there's a moment where he's not nearby, and she's like, okay, Jerry, come on, and I'm like, okay, there's the Wonder Girl, there's the Yara Flor that I saw in the future state. So.
Yeah, she's sitting there like, you're making an idiot out of me, or whatever she says, and it's just
happy that we're finally there.
And it's on that awesome dual splash page of Yara fighting and it just flighting.
I'm too slow at this. I got to make you big.
Sorry.
There you go.
Then you see her all on the next page, literally just, Sherry, where are you? So good.
I still need to read Future State, Wonder Woman, or this whole thing you guys are.
You haven't read Wonder Girl Future State.
I never did. No.
Okay.
So I feel like I'm missing out a lot of.
it's so good.
Well, I think if you go back and read Wonder Girl Future State, you'll understand where we kind of were in issues 1 and 2 going, we want the Yara that you showed us already because she's awesome. Now I get that you have to build to it, but
because I really liked those early issues. I liked the kind of civilian Yara.
I did too, but I think there was a
worth
lot.
it to me.
It was a nice slow burn.
Yeah,
it was. So bam.
That's Wonder Girl. I forgot what we're doing next already, even though I have them in a pile.
Right?
Gotham villains.
Okay. Yep. See, that's why.
I'm such a dummy.
Glad I asked.
And that's just you two.
Oh, it's just you two.
That's just you two.
I thought that I had the Momoko cover, but I don't see it right here. But
I highlight this one. What'd you get, Tessa?
I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's like Salvage.
Oh wait, is it Marguerite?
Yes.
Marguerite. Okay.
Yeah, no, I love her work. She's done a bunch of stuff that I really like, but obviously I got the Poison Ivy one because that's my favorite character. Oh, it's on the side. I'm reversed. But
There you go.
my favorite character. There were a lot of really cool covers for this. I kind of like the A cover that Jen has. I am so bad at this. This I feel like is kind of worth it picking up alone just for some of the cool pinups. Christian Ward has just started doing stuff over at DC. Hey Brian, go big.
Go big. Thank you for the warning. There you go.
He's just done this Red Hood one, which is beautiful with all the colors and stuff. His stuff is so trippy. Hold on, I got at least one more. We'll do the Poison Ivy one.
Did you get a chance to read The Gardener?
I did
Yes.
just recently, and it was pretty great. I'm not caught up on Batman stuff at all, and I really enjoyed it.
Okay, because Christian Ward did all the artwork for The Gardener.
That's the reason alone I picked it up.
Yeah, and it's really just a poison. I mean, The Gardener is really just like a Poison Ivy kind of gardener origin love story, which was beautiful. And I loved that the artwork was Chris Ward.
His layouts are phenomenal. Everything is like beautiful and trippy, but somehow still grounded. And I don't know, I'm obsessed with his stuff.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but I feel like this is there's been so many anthology series, I guess, that have been coming out recently, like Are You Afraid of Darkseid? And I can't recall some of the other ones, but even the Pride special, they were good, but I feel like this one, I was like, okay, my boy Danny DeVito is writing a story, and it's the first one in here. It's a Catwoman Penguin love story, which at first I'm like, ew, no, but then I'm like, okay, it's kind of sweet. And seriously, if you want to make me big so you can see Catwoman in this, like Catwoman,
it's Dan Mora, isn't it?
Please, yeah, Dan Mora. I'm like, Catwoman, please step on me. Like that is the theme of this week. because she is just looking so boss there. But this is one of the anthologies that I have loved the most recently. Like every single story was great. Every single writer artist pairing in this was absolutely fantastic. And there's one story that the artwork's done by Emma Rios, which was beautiful. I really enjoyed that one. Once again, it was an Ivy story, so really, really just absolutely love this villains.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So in this Red Hood story, you can see him here in his Red Hood thing, and he's saying, "Everyone down! This is a robbery." But he's got a helmet on. So do you think he just sounds like, or do you think he has like a little mic and like a little speaker attached or something, like right outside?
You know, there is a little bow tie on his thing, so I'm gonna say it's in his bow tie, even though I don't know if I'm seeing it in the next couple of panels. So,
because what if some superhero attacks him and goes, yeah, it snatches the bow tie because that's the source
Yeah.
of his power.
You know it's gonna happen in an issue sometime, and we're gonna be talking about on Comic Talk Live, like, oh man, they listen to our show, because then he's gonna be mute the entire rest of the episode. Like,
yeah. It's going to be like a really funny one written by Tom Taylor or something, and he's going to make fun of it. And then he's going to like try to eat pizza awkwardly.
Yeah, there was also the Scarecrow one, which might have been my least favorite one, but it highlighted a lot of Nightwing, and there was someone in the beginning wearing a Haley's Circus shirt, and of course I didn't bookmark it because I'm not very smart. But it says Haley's Circus since 1940, and I thought that was really cute because Dick Grayson's first appearance was in 1940. So.
Okay.
Nice catch on that. Like this, I want a series out of almost every single one of these. Even the I really enjoyed the Talia al Ghul one.
Yeah, me too.
Like the artwork, especially with the artwork, I thought it was just absolutely incredible. So, anyways, probably one of my favorite anthologies from DC this year.
I thought the Federici Ra's al Ghul one, like, it fits really well with his character. I feel like if there was ever a story just for him, like, I'd want him to be the artist.
Ooh, yeah.
I feel like this succeeds because I've been checking out the anthology ones, and I don't usually, like, I've tried the ones that are like Are You Afraid of Darkseid and all that stuff, and like it was but I like the ones that are like the character ones, like the Green Arrow one, fantastic. So I feel like that might be why this one succeeded, because it was more character based rather than like focusing on one specific thing, like making them all be horror or making them all be lovey or whatever. It was just
that's a good point, because you're right. Most of them are like it's like you're right, either Halloween themed or Yeah,
like I got the Green Arrow one. I got another one that I can't think of off the top of my head, but just those ones I thought were like really weirdly good. So I think that might be why this one succeeded more.
Yeah.
oh man, I didn't get this.
I got the Green Lantern
you're
one
a fake
when
Batman
that came out.
fan, Greg?
Yeah,
No,
you should have.
I should have. And the problem is Chaos said it. I struggle with anthologies sometimes, and I honestly was kind of trying to go through my poll list this week and say, what can I push back on, or what can I not get, because so many annuals came out that I'm like, I had a detective annual, I had the Nightwing annual, I had the Batman annual. I'm like, what do I've been reading Robin, and I'm like, I'm not getting the Robin annual. So I had to like pick and choose, because there were just so many freaking comics that were dropped today or Wednesday.
Yeah.
So many annuals. And I wonder if that hurts DC at all by like dropping so many annuals at one time, that I don't want to pick up like an anthology or something else or something different, because I'm already getting so many other books that I'm supposed to get.
As someone who has a shop, there are a lot of people, not a lot of people, I'm sorry, but there are less than 0 people who subscribe to a book and then they say no annuals for the book at all. Like, just, hey, here's my pull list, don't pull me any annuals. And it makes sense because it's an easy way to save money. And it's also a good way to check out the book if you haven't read it, though. So I know a lot of people who grab annuals because they're interested in the run, but this is kind of like a one-shot story, so people really like it.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a toss-up. It sucks when they all come out at once and when they're more expensive like now, because like when I paid for my books, I was like, why is it so much more expensive when it's like I feel like it's less amount of books, and it was, but all of them being $4, $5, $6.99.
Right.
I definitely had a hit or miss experience with this. I got a bunch of annuals this week too, and like some of them I was like really impressed with and I really enjoyed, and then like the Batman annual, I was a giant waste of time. Yeah, and
Oh, wah.
yeah, exactly. But like, you don't know going in because I do enjoy some annuals. I think they're hit or miss enough
Yeah.
for me to like be willing to take the risk, and I don't want to just say no annuals, period, because some of them really shine, like a nice standalone little story, but some of them are just
I feel like I'm
hot
one of the
doo-doo.
few people who like love them because I know like John's Comics with Kid was saying one time that like they're not really necessary. A lot of people appreciated them
Surprise,
this year falling around the
surprise.
holidays because a lot of people can't really pick up the books around the holidays. So this kind of was like, oh, cool, I'll just skip the annual and then I won't have to actually my pull list won't suffer. But no, I really like them actually because I feel like sometimes, especially when it's the same creative team, like this Nightwing one is still Tom Taylor. And I feel like sometimes it's just a story that doesn't actually fit in their arc, but it's still a story that they have to tell and they want to share. So I don't know, I kind of really appreciate them.
And I mean, there are some annuals that are like the Tom King
Batman
Lee
annual
Weeks
too.
one.
Yeah. I have like
Was-
6 copies of the book. I just give it out to people all the time. It's one of my favorite books. I just give
I
it
mean,
to people.
it's easy. I'm like, read this book. If you haven't read it, like, read it. So there definitely are annuals. Like, I think you're right, where they are the creative teams on that series where you're like, hey, here's a story that we want to tell that just isn't going to fit in
Mhm.
our weekly, or monthly by monthly run that we're doing. So
Just don't do them all at once. That's the thing. I would have liked to have been in the
I agree.
whatever boardroom they decided that at. Like, let's drop them all on the same day. Like, that's a good idea, right, guys?
Again, like at our shop, there's a lot of people who, of course, there are some people like us who get like a little bit of everything, but there's a lot of people who are like mostly, if not all DC, or mostly, if not all Marvel, they kind of pick a side. So people who get all their DC books, like they were like, oh my god, this is a lot of dollars. And a lot of DC people get like all the covered B, so that's an extra $1 for each book. So that adds up really fast. Like,
Yeah.
you get 6 books and you're paying like $40-something. Like,
Especially like thinking about the normally on this show it's pretty evenly split. Like it's normally like half and half between like Marvel and DC and indie, so maybe like a third. But then this week it was literally like 75% of the books that we were reading or what we're all going to be talking about were all DC. So anyone who is like heavier on that DC, this was a pretty heavy week for y'all.
yeah, my pull list was entirely DC and like 2 or 3 indies.
I think Daredevil and Venom, those were my 2 Marvel ones.
Mm-hmm. And then there was like Marauders, like some X-Men tie-ins or something.
Marauders, Trial of Magneto, yeah.
X-Men
Spider-Man.
stuff.
But speaking of indies, let's talk about this one.
Good segue.
Nice.
Let's talk about this guy. This book would not fly at Marvel or DC ever. I don't think.
What? A book about a maniac killer who now is killing in a high school?
If Marvel or DC did this, I think they would get sued.
I guess the Punisher, but like they're never. I don't know.
They could do like a Black Label or Vertigo, because some of that, like if you're reading Soul Plumber right now, Soul Plumber is the most ridiculous book. It's wacky and it's weird and it's got, I don't know, it's just a weird fucking book. But
I heard it was good though. Do you like it?
I liked issue 1. Issue 2 didn't push it enough for me because like it really, it's weird, it's wacky. But issue 2 just didn't do enough like bringing it all together for me. It's like literally about a born again Christian dude who like he looks like one of the guys from what's that Kevin Smith movie?
Dogma.
Clerks 2, and like yeah, it's weird. So anyways,
Cool.
I like how you have to
Sorry.
specify it
Sorry.
in Clerks 2.
Yeah, I was like Clerks. No.
Clerks 2.
Clerks 2.
Clerks, specifically Clerks 2. But anyways, it's a really weird book. I feel like they could do Maniac of New York because they are currently doing Soul Plumber, and that's an even weirder book than Maniac. But I didn't read Maniac this week, so please tell me all about it.
I really liked the first story. I'll just throw that out there first and let Greg talk.
So we had this is the second volume of it. Maniac New York. I know Ryan was a big fan of it. I enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite arc or volume of a book, but it takes place after all the events that have happened. And what you're seeing right off the bat is you're going to have some copycat killers who are like, or people who are dressing up like him or trying to use this to get insurance. But like whatever it is, they're basically having people who aren't the maniac showing up. And the main setting is that we're still following the two detectives who were on the trail of the Maniac killer, and dealing with the aftermath of what happened on the train with them. And, you know, barista's like, wait, if I knew it was for you guys, I would have spit in your coffee. And and all the, you know, all the stuff that just came out afterwards with that. But the main setting is it's a high school that has been taken over by a corporation, basically. I think now that because of the Maniac killer, there are now like these corporations that are taking over to put things in place to protect people from this. And this is it seems like a very urban and rundown school, like that just has like, then it has a banner like, now a part of, you know, School Corp or whatever it is, Smart Corp.
Yeah.
And definitely the Maniac killer shows up there, and it's like it's taking all the elements that you have of a high school student now, like with dealing with you know, shooting drills and things like that in a school, and they have those in place for like if a Maniac killer. Even in the back of the book, there is which I thought was a really cool just interesting tie-in. There was the New York NYC Maniac Safety Guideline for schools and what to do if the Maniac killer shows up at your school. And
they even got an acronym.
Yeah, and they call it the slasher and stay in place. And it just is, it was a smart little twist that they threw in there, you know, to look like a real ad. But
the first book did that too, which was really cool.
Yeah, I thought it was fun. So I talked a lot about the plot, Ryan. What do you think of the book?
I just love I love a book with a good like second layer, like a nice subtext and social commentary. Mm-hmm. And this is very much a slap in the face to like the epidemic of school shootings that we have in this country, and how, you know, instead of there being any sort of top-down change to like somehow mitigate that, they are kind of relying on, you know, let's give the teachers guns instead, or let's build these weird little door jam things so the doors can't open, or like we'll teach kids how to throw tables in front of the doors and stand on toilets to not get shot at school. And like, this is a very real problem, but this comic kind of takes that and tells a fictional story about, you know, someone coming to a school to murder a bunch of people. And it makes you think about the subject, the very real subject, but in a fictionalized way, which I appreciate. And it's hard for me to read this book and not think about it on the subtext level. Yeah. But even as a big fan of horror and slashers and all that stuff, like I just enjoyed the tension here, because you know something's going to happen. And that was a big part of what I loved about the first book, was that it was just, there was all this like all these news stories about this new fancy like high-speed train that we're building, and it's going to be so great, and there's no train conductor or whatever. And then you find out this lunatic gets like on the train and there's no way to stop it, and everyone's trapped in a metal tube with a serial killer with a machete, and it's just like really good premise. And now like that gets kind of ratcheted up here in a much scarier way because there's kids.
Yeah, and you throw even on that, like you were saying about the levels and layers that it's talking about. The principal even is like, there's a whole page on the panel of the principal is like, the secretary is like, hey, you need to call the cops. They're like, no, I've got to go through these regulations first, and I got to call the safety corp people to see what I need to do. And like, and he can't get through to them, like their offices are closed or whatever. And so the concept of not even making an emergency call because he has to run through these steps and jump through these hoops now because this corporation, you know, is running the security at the school. And it just makes you look at it, like Ryan said, it makes you look at stuff and go, interesting.
I feel that it's also got that like little bit of, it's a little satirical, which also helps balance with that a little bit. So it's a little more fun. To go completely on the opposite side, I don't have a copy, so if someone could show this, but there is a kill in this book that I really like as a horror movie junkie. But there's one where the teacher's like, no, he's fine. He's behind the glass. And then he just like swings right through the door. And like,
can I show this? Is it okay to show it on your channel, Ryan?
I don't care. What happens? Oh yeah. Dead guy.
He's like, yeah, dudes, everyone stay fine. Get into your desk. He just, and it just, And Ryan also pointed out, I'm only reminding him because I really honestly believe he forgot, but they also had like Bunny Mask, little Easter eggs in the book.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Same artist as Bunny Mask. So
yeah.
he
the art is really good for this book. Like, perfect. Yeah, there's like
I
a
didn't read
mask
Bunny
poster in
Mask,
the
so I
background.
missed those.
There was
little-
just one of the kids in the bathroom for whatever reason, and there was some other kid had drawn on the wall with a pen, and there's clearly just like a bunny face, and then someone drew the Maniac's mask too, just side by side.
Yeah.
It's very subtle, but it's there.
Ooh. I hope that they like build this universe, that maybe there'll be another series that has like another weird ass serial killer or something.
Yeah, do you think this could be Aftershocks like next big title? Like I feel like the last ones they had were Baby Teeth and Animosity, and I feel like now they don't have any like strong book, but this one's on volume 2 and not a lot of their books get past volume 1, I feel.
We Live, I think, was a sleeper hit. We
Yeah.
Live was Aftershock, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they've been doing a lot of like oversized like one shots that are horror. But I feel like none of those have really like hit the mainstream audience.
Yeah, and I was wondering because like Join the Future did not get picked up for a volume 2, which was a tragedy. I don't know if there's been news if Scout's Honor is getting a volume 2 or not.
I mean, it's smart the way they set things up so they can be miniseries and they can comfortably drop off and it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like a lot of their stuff is just staying as miniseries, one volume, that's it.
I think when we talked about this, I think the only problem with that strategy with Aftershock is there were like elements of Scout's Honor that we felt like were rushed in issues 3 or 4 because
Absolutely.
Pebos knew he had 5 issues to tell the story he wanted, and if trades don't sell well, he's not going to get to tell more of that story. I mean, that's just Aftershock's kind of model, and so it felt like there were stuff that was very rushed in end of issue 3 or 4, to get to where it needed to get to. So I think there is a little give take sometimes with that.
Especially with Scout's Honor, I feel like there was such really cool world building in the first couple issues that could have easily been an ongoing series.
Yeah.
It seems like they know before the book ends because at the end of the last arc of Maniac, they had like a, hey, you'll see us for this new title and this, I think I said the month and everything, but it seems like they know by the last like issue or 2. So they probably have they might have like a script of like, here, let's tie it up neatly or let's leave it open-ended, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just an advantage, I think, with horror stories. There's like, at least thinking about it like from a slasher movie franchise, like they're pretty self-contained, but also available to stretch out into something, that goes on for way too long.
Yeah.
But,
The hotel guy talks about that in his letter at the end of his new issue.
Well, because we had Zach Kaplan on the show early on, so last year, I think in January or something, and the trade had just come out, I think in December, and he was basically, we were asking if he was getting a volume 2, and he's like, depends on how the trade sells. Like, he's like, I would love to. I got so many ideas for the world, to get inside, where they were having the future. But he's like, if trades don't sell, they're not going to pick it up. And it didn't. So that was like, because I was ready for that.
Whenever that happens, I almost feel like, did I miss something, or like, have I failed the comic book community if there was a book like that I really enjoyed and it didn't like get picked up? Like, did I personally not promote it enough? Or even I feel like I'm at this point in the relationship with my comic book shop that I'm like telling them about the things that I know that are going to be really big or that I feel like are getting a lot of movement. And I feel like with something like that, I mean, by the time I read it, it was already in trade, so I wasn't picking it up single issue by single issue and just kind of like waited for the trade instead of pre-ordering it. But
yeah, that's like both the downside and the good part of being like such a close community where it's like so small, where it's like if you say something, other people are going to listen. But
yeah, there's at least one other person who's going to hear you talk about it and be like, oh, I should pick that up. And that could 100% mean the success of a book or not. But that's also an Aftershock.
Yep.
What's next? I have Nightwing, but I don't know if there's a book in the middle.
It's Nightwing. We're talking annual.
Okay. We're throwing an annual in the mix. It's weird that this is such an annual heavy week, but we only landed on one.
I accidentally bought both covers. This was entirely an accident.
Accidentally?
Yeah, I just had them both in my pile, and then I checked out, and I was like, "Oh,
Like, oh man."
I enjoyed this one. This is in the better half. If I were to cut all the annuals I got this week and say which ones were good and which ones weren't, like this is in the good pile.
I'm gonna out Ryan here. He hates Bat Family like a
I
lot.
do.
So I was
We
actually
know.
I was
I don't-
really worried about what he would think though, because I really like this. I liked it a lot, and I feel like it really goes into what I said earlier about how like this just wouldn't fit in the current Nightwing run at all. Like if you just made this the next issue, like it would feel awkward. Like it would just be weird. It would just be a break from the story.
Although they certainly don't mind taking a 3-issue break from the main story.
For
That's
Fierce
to make
Day,
money with like Batman
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking with this. I was like, they ended up doing like its own self-contained kind of story, but because it's an annual and it's going to be that going in, it didn't suffer from the
Mhm.
fear state bullshit that was going on.
Absolutely.
Like it was like, okay, Nightwing, we're going to do this thing. We're going to like help the citizens of Bloodhaven, and then next issue was, oh, well, sorry, there's all this stuff happening in Gotham, so we got to go there. So I'm really thankful that this landed.
When I first grabbed it, I was really sad that Redondo wasn't doing the art, but
Yeah.
I feel like this art works really well for Red Hood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They also, since I'm the dork who always likes to like find the little tiny Easter eggs. So at one point they meet on the corner of Redondo and Lucas, which is the artist and the colorist of the book normally.
that's awesome.
That is adorable. I completely missed that.
That's like that's the stupid thing I do in comics where I'm just like, all right, cool. What are the stupid tiny
No,
Easter
that's
eggs I
a
can
cool
find?
thing. That was like I noticed it because I get really excited when I notice those things because I don't all the time. But there was like one of those in like one of the Harley Prestige format books where it
Oh
was
yeah,
like
Harley and the Cups. It was a Deanie and
Deanie and
yeah.
the guy's name was like Deanie and
I can't think of his name.
But
Tim.
yeah,
Tim. Ooh.
it was like
Yeah.
Tim Deanie or something was the Deanie's
Yeah,
name or something.
like the
I was
names are those
I
cute.
like that. Yes.
That's what I always go for.
Isn't that why you don't read crossover though?
Yes, because I would get way too OCD over it. Like trying to find out everything and not being able to know all the Easter eggs would drive me nuts. Because like I wouldn't get even half of them. Like I read the Chip Zdarsky issue and I found it was amazing and I love that it could stand on its own. And I'm
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
But no, this was a really cool story, and I have like zero experience with Red Hood, especially apart from any kind of Fear State style giant Bat Family crossovers where they're all in the mix. Like that's the only time I ever really encounter any of these people. So it actually kind of helped that this was more secluded. Like it was just these two guys doing their thing, and like the flashbacks throughout here told a really, really good story, especially for somebody like me. I haven't read any of the classic kind of like Red Hood stuff for the Death in the Family, and like I have no familiarity with any of this. So this was all, I don't know. I know that I'm missing out, and I'm missing something by not ever having read that stuff. But this helped.
Yeah, and these are stories that are in that world, but not of it. And I think these are the stories that work with the Bat Family when it's contained to one or two characters in the Bat Family. They work, but it's these onslaughts where they're like all six of them are in an issue or something. It's like, no, this is you're trying to, too many cooks are in the kitchen. Like two is enough. And I mean, and I think that you see that by really Batman's not in it. And Alfred is kind of in it, but to kind of help the story move along. But it literally is just a Dick Grayson, Jason Todd story. And it's allowing them to explore, the stuff we've seen in a Batman book of like, oh, I had to deal with Bruce and Batman and all of this jazz. And oh yeah, I had to do this. But the moments that Jason and Dick had were very sweet, I think, in those of, Jason still is not trusting Dick in this. And he's like, hey, I'm compared to you as a golden, you're the golden boy. And he's like, Bruce fired me and all, so he's getting into the heart of this. And, to see Alfred doing what Alfred does best. And gosh, this issue makes me miss Alfred because, just them just grinning behind the penny, like, ha, 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 my plan worked.
Yeah, I feel like this really shows the core of all of these characters. Like, it really shows that Nightwing just is so trusting and hopeful. Like, oh, cool, you said you didn't do it? Okay, I believe you. Let's see where we go from here. And Alfred's just like, all right, here, I'm just here to take care of my boys. Like, I feel like it just really showed all the characters. But, Greg, you read all the Batman and detective stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a question for you because I was trying to figure it out. There's a part in here where they go to Wayne Manor and it says, like, previous home of Bruce Wayne. And I know he doesn't live there right now. And obviously Alfred is dead, so he doesn't live there. So who lives in Wayne Manor?
I don't think anyone at this time. I'm.
So you're telling me there's this giant mansion, probably the most famous mansion, possibly in the entire DC universe, but definitely is in the Gotham City area.
I'm trying to. So
This
I
is epic.
believe I. Someone in the chat might be able to correct me. I believe Lucius Fox owns it, but I don't because I they.
Oh, does
the,
Jace live there? Isn't he the I
I
Am
don't know
Batman?
if Jace is the new
think so.
Batman, but I don't think he lives there. And so I don't know. And
Really weird.
I was trying to focus because I know in Titans, Scarecrow lived there. You know, like, so I'm like, hold on, wait. I'm trying to not confuse my. At this time, I'm believing no one is there right now.
It looked pretty abandoned. Everything was covered up,
Yeah.
and like I guess that was just the Bat Cave and not the mansion. But like,
Which also where Dick Grayson Nightwing is just making the figure is like, well, you could have been the. Why didn't you become the Crowbar rather than the Red Hood?
That's what I'm saying though. It just really shows these two characters, like how they're just brothers. They're just messing around. Like it's so good.
Yeah,
I also really appreciated this artist because I love how expressive they made Clayface. Like he's
I
just a
enjoyed
ball
that,
of
too.
clay, but they made like you could tell everything. It was almost silly. I'm getting. Oh god, I wasn't ready for this.
you're big.
and
You're
it's
big now. You have to show
surprising
it.
that
Here's two
Ryan was
different
already
ones.
ahead of the game.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also a sound effect that I really liked in here too, which was like really funny.
It's like splorch or something, right?
It was something really. Oh, here we go. Whoop! Oh god.
Schlop.
Oh, Schwab.
Schlop.
I was gonna
Sounds
say, was
gross.
it? Psh? They have a lot of sound effects. Psh.
Yeah, that one was good too. I love the way they made it look all electrical.
I didn't like that they used my least favorite Clayface. No one likes Preston Payne.
I was confused when I saw that. But I mean, they shouldn't have used the one that actually was Jason Todd in Under the Red Hood.
Right.
So that's why that was my only thought. So I was like, it was a perfect villain to use, but if it wasn't Preston, like then he's gonna get a little more hefty with that crowbar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to read a lot of old Batman stuff.
You need to learn to read, Ryan.
I just look at the pictures. I infer.
That's not true. You don't like the art in comics. You always say
I
that's the
know.
part you don't care about.
I know. So it's like, why am I even doing this?
I also love seeing the old Nightwing outfit, and again, it was just brought back nostalgia for me.
I
But
just like seeing the boys.
yeah,
all
so
together,
Ryan,
man.
Preston Payne is the third Clayface.
Wow. I thought there was only one.
Karloff, and then it was Matt Hagen, and then
There's Lady Clayface.
Lady Clayface, I believe, was the fourth one. There actually is like 7 Clayfaces in Batman continuity.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Clayface Eye.
yeah, it's insane. So many Clayfaces. Clayface? I don't know. I don't know what the plural term of Clayface.
I heard clay feces.
That's where it sounded like it was going. I was like, I should probably just.
It's kind of what he
stop.
already looks like, though. That should
It's
be
okay.
a
Greg
Batman.
has an issue with trying to think before he talks.
It's true, which is usually why I just say I don't know what's going on, but I liked it.
You got a good catchphrase.
Zing. Bazinga. There's a catchphrase.
Mm.
Canceled myself. Yuck. Next book. Hotel? Is it Hotel?
No, it's Human Target. But yes, Russ,
so
to
out of
answer your
order.
question in the chat, they do a flashback in the annual, and you see Nightwing in the old outfit. And it
Oh,
was,
also wait, hold on. Ryan, what game was Jason playing that you immediately recognized as you were reading
Oh.
this and went, oh,
Yeah, he was playing Grand Theft Auto 3 because I'm a nerd.
specifically?
that's the
I
fact that
mean-
you know which one it was.
I mean, let me.
You're always playing Grand Theft Auto 3, and I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you reading?
It's right here in the corner. Very hard to see on the edge of the page. That's GTA 3 specifically.
I mean, you can tell by the radar, but oh yeah, with the color, for sure.
It's
Chaos.
the outfit the guy's got on. That's. I also just finished playing that game, so
Oh, that helps.
it's
then.
fresh. Thank you for that reminder because I already
Yeah.
forgot about that.
So I went to go pick up my books after the shop closed because I got busy with some other stuff. So I had someone set them aside for me, and he wrote this on it. So I just wanted to let everyone else see that.
I like butts.
Yeah, he just had it in the middle of my pile, and he was like, "Oh, she's never gonna notice."
That's
That's
actually part of the
Scarecrow, too.
original cover for Human Target issue 2.
Yeah.
That's on there. Mine says that too.
Okay, well, I said I like to find the little hidden stuff in comics. On page 1, There is a street sign that says Infantino, and Carmen Infantino is the co-creator of the original Human Target.
Nice.
I have no idea.
Well done. We read comics. That's expected.
Yeah. I like Carmen Infantino like a lot though, so because he also co-created Poison Ivy.
Also, I was just really glad to be able to complete my set today
Ooh,
of the homage to the Clue board game.
I have totally played Clue before.
But I
Fun.
voted Jennifer and picked up both covers though. Because
I really like this cover.
I really did. I couldn't pass it up.
Yeah, I love Greg Smallwood.
I'm normally exclusively like a cover B person, but I've been trying to do more cover A's. And
See, I'm exclusively usually a cover A person. So
like this Nightwing variant is fine, but I would rather have the trade dress and the main cover.
I mean, they're both
better.
fine. Either of them are amazing, honestly.
Sure. There's another book that we're talking about that I also prefer cover A over the B cover that I grabbed.
Ooh.
But no, this one's good. Smallwood is a fantastic artist who I was not familiar with at all before Human Target. But
Before
the art in
Tessa
this
started
book,
getting really excited about him, and
yes, that is honestly
I
how
love Greg Smallwood.
I have
I've loved him for so
discovered
long.
many artists due to your contagious excitement.
Smallwood's art just pairs so well with this story. It has such that film noir vibe. Even then the coloring. Does Smallwood do his own coloring, or is there someone else doing the coloring?
He does his own colors.
Okay,
Because
So,
they look gorgeous, right? It's like him and Francavilla that color their own art so perfectly. Oh.
I mean the scenes where they're walking on the beach, the lighting effects on it, to then going to like the flashbacks with like just a two-tone kind of colors, to then the in the ocean with the artwork through and through is beautiful.
And they have like more sketchy elements that almost look like unfinished together. It's so beautiful.
Yeah. This is a very pretty book.
So I want to preface this by saying I don't think that this is the best book on shelves. That being said, it might be my favorite book on the shelves right now. This is like my new comfort book. Like I love just looking at it and I'm obsessed with it. Like these colors are ridiculously beautiful and perfect. And I love Ice, and I like the team of Justice League International. Except maybe Guy Gardner, he kind of sucks, but this book is so good. Yeah, like
I'm gonna blow you up.
Yeah, Tom King usually does the 9-panel layout, but I like when he does the 6, which is a really dorky thing to say, but still, it's so good. The panel layouts in this are also like really
and I've
cool.
also
They do like these more.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like those kind of on the flashback
Yeah.
storytelling, how they're doing the panel layout, where there's
Very
a lot of
investigative.
exposition on those pages, but it flows really nicely with the paneling, and it comes together so well. I've never noticed more shadows in a book than in issue 2 here, which I think is really Smallwood and King trying to get that noir kind of style, that the mystery, the old school vibe, because you look at every page, you can see shadow work going on, and I'm like, wow, I've never noticed it that much.
Yeah, I'm also just like a sucker when they just use like the colors you wouldn't typically use, like they highlight in color rather than just like a lighter tone or something. Just it all goes together so well. I'm obsessed with this book. I'm really excited. I can't wait for it to be a hardcover. I just really love this book.
It feels like a really cool, like every time I read this issue, I feel like I want to watch Mad Men. Like I really want to watch Mad Men. I want to just throw myself into like this mahogany, like Scotch, like 60s aesthetic stuff.
Okay, Anchorman.
Exactly.
No.
It feels so like this book has a very big sense of place, even though it's not a period piece. I don't think it takes place back in the day, but it
gives off those vibes very much, especially
so
based on
retro.
Like what they wear, and obviously like even the back here has like old pinup style swimsuit. But if you look at what she gets, it's a retro spin suit. He's always wearing suits which are classic and timeless, but it gives off older vibes. You never see new cars. You never see
the car that they drive up on the.
Yeah.
It kind of gives the old school vibe, and
I think it's supposed to feel timeless, in my opinion. Like I don't think you're supposed to read this and be like, oh yeah, this feels just like when we had iPhones back then. Like I feel like it's supposed to just be a very timeless kind of book where you can read this and it can be whatever you want it to be.
First and foremost, a good book. What's it even about? I don't think no one has mentioned anything about.
It's one of those Tom King books where it's not about anything.
It's about a murder mystery, and it's a whodunit, and you got to figure out who done it.
Or you
Right?
can just sit there and look at the pretty art like I do.
I pointed out to Tessa earlier that this book reminds me a lot of Rorschach that Tom King just finished writing.
Oh, who
They're,
did the artwork on that one?
Fornes.
Okay.
Jorge Fornes.
Yep.
It has a lot of similar, like, there's assassinations, there's murder mystery going on, there's a character investigating something with like this ticking clock kind of hanging over his head. It just feels structurally similar, and it's very clear to me, at least, that they were written by the same person.
Yeah. Well, I think this is issue 2 is and I say this not in a bad way, is a departure a little bit from issue 1, where issue 1 was a lot of setup and it was a lot faster paced. This is really just 2 characters the entire time, with some backstory going through, but it just is their conversation. And to be such an engaging book, which just is dialogue based, there's nothing really to the murder mystery aspect of this book. It just is them having a conversation, which, yeah, some of those elements and pieces come up, but I mean, that's a credit to the writing, but it's a credit to Smallwood's art to be that engaging with a book where it's just talking heads, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, Tom King likes his dialogue.
But it works really well.
Yeah, issue 1 made me like it. Issue 2 made me fall in love with it. Like, I'm so excited for more, and I'm kind of hating myself for just like not having more right now. Like,
That's part of everyone mentions this when we talk about Tom King, but more than any other writer, like he's writing for the end game.
he writes in arcs. He writes for trade.
He sees the trade in his mind already, and
I will say this though, this is from someone who has been reading all of Tom King stuff in single issues now. This has been the best
Absolutely.
single issue read of it, where it's not like I feel like a lot of times with Strange Adventures, I love Strange Adventures and Rorschach, I have to go back and play like I don't remember what's going on, but this flows. There's, I know Batman and Catwoman, there's like 8 stories going on and people like, what's going, this is very like easier to read in floppies. So if people have been like, I'm off on Tom King because of that, I think this would be one I'd recommend to get into it.
Yeah,
That's why I
keep reading this in single issues, and like Batman, Catwoman, I'm waiting for the trade. And like I love Tom King, but like most things, I just I maybe check it out, but I wait for the trade. And this one, I'm just gonna keep getting it every month.
I think that's why so many of the last like single issue series that he's done I just didn't love. I loved Vision, I loved Mr. Miracle, I loved reading those as trades, but then every single thing that I've read by him in single issues I just haven't really liked. I mean, I'm okay on Supergirl, but I think that's why I was so hesitant to pick up issue number 2. So I'll definitely be reading it in trade, and maybe I'll see if I can pick up the single issues.
Did you pick up issue 1 of Human Target? Okay.
So it won't be like too hard.
Yeah.
Speaking of Vision, did you like the pinup of the Mad Hatter by Walta in this? Like, I thought this was the coolest art we've ever seen of Mad Hatter ever. Yeah.
Thank you,
Do
Scott.
any of you have any? I never read any Human Target before. I never watched the TV show. Does anyone have an affiliation with it before just kind of jumping in like this?
Jumping in.
I read some of his backups in, I believe it was Action Comics, because I like Carmen Infantino, some of the old stuff, but I don't think I've read any of his like actual series. I think this is volume 3, probably. I think he had like a 90s and early 2000s or something. But yeah, I read some backups, but that's it. Like, I kind of just knew of him.
Well, I forget who I was talking to. Someone was like, yeah, I didn't like, the earlier season stuff of Human Target, and I didn't like the show. And I'm like, well, I don't know.
I didn't know there was a show until I was looking up stuff with this, because I was like, oh man, this makes me more interested. I want to see all the Human Target stuff. And I was like, oh, there was a show.
I watched the trailer for the show, and I'm like, I don't know if I need to see the show.
How old is that?
I want to say early 2000s.
Yeah, you probably don't need to see that.
Yeah. Good point, Chaos.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, Paul.
So I don't have a chair
Disagree.
right now, so I'm sitting on my floor. This is my bed. I just put my slabs behind it.
Oh,
The rest
it's
of us
beautiful.
have awesome
I
books.
just have I just
Yeah.
have some cool slabs and my cool bookshelf over there.
Yeah.
But thanks. I appreciate it.
I mean, yeah, thanks, Paul. Paul.
Paul.
I got poison
Oh.
ivy. There's nothing prettier than that.
Anything else about Human Target?
No, I love it. It's great.
Same.
You sound like you're saying this with like a gun to your head.
Like Tom
You think
King's
about
there.
it. What do you think
He
about
is,
it, Ryan?
CIA Tom King, right? He could be right here. And I'm just a really good actor.
Yeah.
You're
That
not
makes
that
me-
good of an actor.
That makes me the human target, and I don't know. I still don't really understand his job. You know,
Human Target or Tom King's?
either one to be
Wow.
completely fair. But human target like gets up there and he's like, "Oh, I'll get shot for you."
Yeah, so like if
And then-
someone thinks someone's after them, he basically disguises themselves and he'll see if someone's gonna assassinate him, basically.
That just seems a little flimsy.
Or he
to
can
me.
also be like I mean, I know this is Marvel, but like, you know when like Daredevil would have to go on stand for something, like he'd be like, he's the fill-in person for whatever you need. Like, all right, cool, I need Matt Murdock and Daredevil in the same place at the same time.
He's the glorified cupbearer to a king, right? He has to take the drink to make sure no one's going to kill the
I
king.
mean, he gets paid, but yeah, he gets paid a lot of money.
I guess that's okay. It's Tom King. That's what he does.
I think it's Tom King writing Tom King.
Ooh.
He's like, I am the human target after what I did with
Wally,
with I don't know, all whatever he did. I
He was
really
in the
don't know.
military. He was in the CIA, but also the stupid thing that like really bothered him was he had to hire a bodyguard to go to cons with him when fans were sending him a lot of death threats. I think it was over his poison ivy, which was stupid.
Explain.
They just I don't know didn't like that they made her a bad guy. She's kind of a villain, guys. Like, but yeah. So like they were sending lots of death threats right before he's going to a con, and so he was required to have bodyguards. And like I think a Secret Service agent or some point got involved at some point, but it was just, hey guys, someone's gonna kill me because I write funny books. Like,
Wow.
Comic
after like
fans,
all the
by the
other
way.
stuff that he did, he was like, I am a CIA agent. I went to war, and I have to have a bodyguard because I wrote some pictures in a picture book. Some pictures in a picture book. That's what I meant to say.
That's funny. I mean, not funny, but
Yeah, people suck, but
Yeah.
It makes sense considering
it checks out.
yeah,
our fellow
unfortunately.
fans.
It was Ryan.
I really like
Says
Poison Ivy.
the person who has the Poison Ivy first appearance behind her.
Excuse
He's
me, I
like,
have 3 copies. but,
I'm the
you know.
biggest Poison Ivy fan around. But that also you would also then know that Poison Ivy falls in the rogue gallery.
Yeah, no, I want her to be. I want her to kill people. I want her. That's
Yeah.
her thing. She's supposed to save the planet, and she's supposed to kill people to do it. Like I'm on her side for it, but she's supposed to do it.
I'm kind of hoping she gets back into a little bit of that now that she's been kind of like reformed into
Based
original
on
Poison
Gardner,
Ivy.
it seems like it, right? Like
I'm
it seems
kind of
like she's on
tired
the darker path.
of happy, nice, cute,
I think she's
romantic
supposed
Poison
to have
Ivy.
a more human side. So like I think there's a little bit of duality in her because she's
They've
like
just
human and plant.
they've been developing the love side of her too much, Like her and Harley are just
See,
that's the main
yeah.
focus.
I like that with her and Harley. I appreciate it a lot. I do at the same time I want her to be more villainous and
She can do both.
I get
but I
that.
don't know why
Yeah.
she's not doing both.
yeah.
I'm not
I
saying
just-
take away the fact that she loved because like in it was in the villain special while she was doing her thing, she was like kind of being evil, but then there was some lady with like blonde hair and she was like, oh, that hair reminds me of her. It looks like just like her shade of blonde. And it's like she's still got that like bleeding
Yeah.
heart and she saves the girl, but she's also like,
Yeah.
if you kill the planet, there's not going to be a place for you idiots to live. So
This is true. On that note, what is it? You're doing Hotel. You guys are talking about Hotel because I don't have
Yeah.
that book.
oh yeah, because
Shocked.
we actually like AWA, Ryan.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
actually AWA fans, Ryan.
I hate those guys over there, and girls.
Wow.
AWA stands for all.
Oh god.
I can't think of it. Yeah, never mind. Anyway, what's this book like?
Yeah, you go.
I mean, it takes place obviously at the hotel, just like the previous volume. I mean, this is where it's one of those books where a place is a character, like, and it has to be, to me, like in a Batman book, Gotham City is a character in of itself. And I think you saw that in the Joker movie was very well portrayed of that the city itself was kind of a character. Obviously the hotel is a main character in this book as it And it's going to go along just, it seems like, where the first volume left off, of telling horror stories that are probably going to loosely tie into each other. And this is a 5. I think the first volume was 4 issues. And, of amping up the what's going on, and, the idea of, in the first volume, you can't find the hotel finds you, and it helps you deal with what you need to deal with. And this story follows a family who is basically, their jobs, got squandered away, and they're trying to figure out what to do with their lives. And so they stop at this hotel, and some stuff ensues.
So where does volume 1 fall on your guys' scale of AWA books?
I don't remember it very well. It was the first thing I read from them.
Yes, because it was in the first
Did you read
wave.
the first volume of Hotel?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was hoping that I was going to pick this one up and the first volume, but did not. Because I hate AWA. Those jerks.
Really, it's okay. I guess I'll have to stand with Greg on something, like statistically.
Sometimes,
All wieners, am I right? AWA. That's what it means. That's what it stands for. Good.
And then that's why.
Is that what you were thinking?
Isn't it
about the
also
whole
called
time? You just
AWA
told me, like-
Upshot? Which is now make the upshot very awkward now, right?
Hey!
Oh.
All right, bye guys. Have a good night. That's the show.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, but like, where did the first volume fall for you guys?
It probably won't fall in my top 5 favorite books of AWA of the first, I guess, go round of books. But I'm not. I've said this before, and I read them all the time. I'm not a horror guy as much, so I don't appreciate a horror comic as much as someone else does. But I end up reading a lot more horror books than I ever thought I would.
As someone who really likes horror, I really liked the first one. I also really liked this one. I feel like it's really good because this is truly like a standalone good volume book. So like, I would happily hand this off to someone who had never read the first one, who just wants to try like one issue. Sweet. I really like the story though. I liked the little the ending, I guess I should say, without wanting to completely spoil it, and the dreams that he had. I also really like how AWA does this thing where they put in like letters from the creators, kind of showing their thought processes and stuff. Again, as a horror person, the dude writing this was talking about horrors and how horror sequels aren't always the best. So he was talking about which ones are really good. So he brings up like the Scream ones, which are some of my favorites, but he talks about why they're good, which I think is really good. Like for the Scream one, he talks about that it's playing off of how we already like these characters. And then like The Exorcist 3 is just scary as heck. But like he breaks them down and he's like, all right, cool. It's a really smart way to learn from other people, even if it's not your form of media, of all right, cool, how do I take aspects of this that went well rather than just all right, cool, here's more of the same. And I think that's really smart because like now we get to see more of the I think his name's Jack, the dude who works there, which I think is really smart.
Jack Lynch.
I'm excited to see where that goes. Yeah.
I remember from the first run that he was more just like the crypt keeper kind of
He
guy.
was the Twilight Zone dude. Yeah, he was just like, hey fam, here's a new episode.
And he always, whenever I was reading it, I was like, I want to know, especially because I got the only reason I got that book in the first place was because I was the the guy who worked at the hotel at night, and like there was a book called Hotel, and I wanted to check it out for that reason. And then I fell in love with AWA, after that. But like reading it, I was always really drawn to that guy, and like he was barely involved. So it is encouraging to hear
Well, hey,
that.
yeah,
I don't know if I would say he, at least in this first issue, that he's more involved than he was in the previous volume.
I think just a little bit, because he has like a page where he's alone, kind of talking about himself, and he does like a little hint at mystery where like his nose starts splitting. He's just like, oh, I didn't know that could still happen. Like something weird is happening to him, and they're just, like kind of dropping in some foreshadowing. I think for later in the run, I think his is going to be a really slow story that they just do like a page or two every issue, and then at the end maybe something will happen. Yeah, I think this first volume was the one that made me be like, all right, cool, I really like AWA. Like they haven't missed anything. I really like this one, and then I read whatever the border ones, Red Border. Yeah, so I read those two, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. Like I'm just getting everything from them.
Yeah,
it's very good at being a horror book because horror I feel like is harder to do in a comic where it takes the two bad sides of the other forms of horror media, where like in a book, like you can't see it actually. You're kind of imagining it. And so anything you imagine is obviously scarier than what you could see. And then in a movie, like you can have a jump scare. And in a comic, well, you see the things and you can't really have jump scares. So it takes away like the two big parts of other horror medias. So I really think that they do this well, where they're kind of playing a little bit psychological, but they're also showing you scary stuff. They're doing some twists and turns, but it's also just not just scary. There's a story. I'm really into it.
Yeah.
I haven't read that one yet. It's on my list.
Me
I'm trying to
neither.
read all their books.
I did read that one. I forgot about Grendel.
Is it good?
I liked it. I have to go back and look at all the AWA books and see where they fit into my rankings. Which ones, you know,
we should collaborate on some kind of AWA ultimate ranking list.
For me,
Yeah,
I feel like Not All Robots
yes.
I
has
love
been
that book.
like top of the list from like that's definitely
That's
going
my
to
favorite
be
book in total right now. Like,
yeah, one I think
I
it's
love Mark Russell.
probably going to be close to the top 10 for this year. Not just AWA, but like top in general.
Right.
Also, I love Fight Girls. I know it's not like an incredible changing book, but like it's Frank Cho drawing pretty ladies and scary monsters. Like it's what I want it to be. I'm having a great time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if I would say this, if you enjoyed the first volume of Hotel, I think there's nothing about this that you would not enjoy it. I will say I hadn't seen the ad yet for this new book by them, but the ad for The Fourth Man
Ooh.
that they just put up
that one
looks fantastic. I'm like, yep, I'm here for it.
Oh my goodness, wacky inflatable arm dude.
A real horror icon.
3 murders,
What cover
25
did you get?
grand, or best offer. What?
What cover did you get?
The A cover.
Nice. Yeah,
I think, isn't this the A cover?
the other one's the Mike Deodato cover.
Okay, yeah.
he's very overused over there for the variant
I
covers.
mean, it's like the big name they have though.
I guess. I like his interiors on Not All Robots, but
I like him much more for interiors than for covers.
Yeah.
Marvel used to use him as a variant artist like 6 years ago for like every variant. Like every variant was like a 1 in 10 Mike Deodato variant, and they were all just eh. They have very few misses. Yeah, I really like AWA. They're my favorite publisher just for consistency's sake.
Mm-hmm.
I've checked out every single book that they write, whether it's a concept that seems interesting to me or not.
Funny, Ryan said the exact same thing, that comment was made, and then the very next book we read we didn't like from it.
What book was it?
Was that comment, and then it was
ETER. I didn't enjoy that one.
which one?
Oh yeah, I haven't checked that one out yet.
ETER. That was what came out, and we
Was
were.
that bad? I thought Ryan
That
just didn't like it because he hates one shots.
I actively did not enjoy that.
I thought the story was good. The art in the first story was really tough. It wasn't a good mix.
Yeah.
So, and then the very next book that we read was Knighted, which we weren't super fans of.
Is
But I mean, still, if you look at like percentages,
Yeah, absolutely.
what's the one that came out recently and it's like World War II but with like zombies or something out?
Yep.
I didn't like the first issue of that one, but I know that was one that you
Issue 2 was
guys
better.
Okay.
I liked it. Yeah. Yeah, that one is dripping with mood. I enjoy Out a lot. It's very dark.
Yeah.
I'm assuming
Last
Ryan wants
book?
to read the next one. Yeah.
You guys all got the good. This is why it's not a.
I'm
This is not a
borrowing
bad.
this. I'm literally borrowing this for my work. I'm returning it. I didn't want to keep it back. I'm waiting for the hardcover to like buy it.
Yeah.
I just brought it home to read it for literally this show.
I
I'm bringing it
saw
back
my shop had the 1 in 50 or whatever the hard.
125. That like full
125.
leather one.
Someone had ordered it, and so like he's like, check this out. I was like, look,
It's pretty.
it is.
If anyone wants it, my
still
shop
like
has it.
Ooh.
It's pretty. This book has also been doing so. When I ordered it, I'm an idiot who didn't realize that it was like the magazine size book, and we order less of those just because, as a shop, I have no problem with them in general. Like people buy a magazine box, they get to keep them. But as a shop storing them, they don't fit in like our back issue bins. We'll have to have a separate section for them. They're annoying. So I usually order less just so I don't have to deal with them back issues. But since I didn't, I ordered more than I intended to, and people are really loving this. Like they've been calling the shop and they've been messaging the shop, and we're not entirely a comic store. We're like games first and then comics kind of. But yeah, we've been getting a lot of requests about this book, and it like doesn't happen. Like it's people are super into this. Like just word of mouth. It's selling just because it's good.
That is so good to hear because this book has been pushed back. Like, I don't know if it's got to do with a little bit of like logistics issues, like paper shortage, or, you know, just all those things going on. I was so worried. I was so excited for this book. One, because I love the creative team. I love Kelly Sue DeConnick. I love Phil Jimenez. And it could easily be one of those books that just was a dud, and it was not. Maybe I'm speaking. I'll speak for myself. My opinions are my own. This book was so freaking beautiful. I loved this book so much. Like every page, I felt like I got lost in the artwork, and I just got lost in the poetry of Kelly Sue DeConnick's writing. I loved this so much.
I know I was checking on Jimenez's Instagram, and he said that it was like 3 years in the making for the art alone. And it makes sense when you watch it, but also, read it, look at it, whatever, consume it with your eyeballs. But what's also really wild to me, I went in knowing that there are 3 colorists for this, as well as the artists, like separately. Like there's Jimenez, and then the colorists are Prianto, oh god, I don't know any of these, Farado, and Hi-Fi? The Hi-Fi one I see all the time. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I'm very sorry. Your art is very good. But it's really weird to see a book so cohesive with so many, just such a large creative team, because it's really hard to do that. But when you're going through, I feel like it makes a lot of sense when you see the types of colors that are used. Like, I feel like some of them do different parts separately.
I'm gonna blow you up.
Me? I wasn't. Oh, okay.
Show something. Show it.
Show it.
Okay, so this sounds like a different kind of show. But if you look in scenes like this, you can see that it almost looks like there are just different art styles happening constantly. So I feel like someone is like a flatter, and someone does like more like watercolor techniques. And like I feel like hold on, there's a specific there we go. So this is when I got to, it was like a preview issue.
Yep.
I will say that the one downside I found of this book, especially with a book that has such gorgeous artwork, was the gutter loss. Kind of sucked.
Yes.
Definitely due to the like square bound binding. Yeah, this is the one I wanted. I love this page. But I feel like if you look at this, it looks like so many different things are happening, and like it's almost like each of these panels can be by a different artist.
Is that the actual term, gutter loss? I'd never heard that.
Yeah, gutter loss is like, it's usually in like bound books and not comic books, but like if you get an omnibus and you look at it, and that's what it's called. But it sucks when like sometimes there'll be like this beautiful page with Aphrodite and her face is right in the center, but you can't see half of her face.
That was a page where I noticed it really, and I was like,
yeah, everything else made sense. Like with this one, it's like, all right, cool, it's in between panels, it all makes sense, everything gets lost, but that some of the areas I feel like it was definitely a downside.
Yeah, especially when because not all of the pages and comic books do this regularly, where it'll be like page 1, page 2, and then like splash between the two. I feel like I'm at a loss for words, but like you're supposed to read it page 1 from top to bottom, page 2 from top to bottom, but some of the pages went from that, and then you turn the page and it would go just, you're reading it horizontally. And I guess to your point, that gutter loss, thank you for that term, because of that gutter loss, I think that you lose that sense of how you're supposed to read it.
This was
it's just the binding though. Like if this was flat if this was like a normal comic binding, I feel like it would have been perfect.
Yeah, that's the worst page.
That was the worst gutter loss page for me. I was like, wait, I'm supposed
That's
to
a person. We're supposed to see a face right there in the middle.
Since I was borrowing this, I didn't want to like crack it open down the middle to really look.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I was, we have a little Discord for our shop, and every Wednesday I say like, hey, these are like the coolest books out this week. And when I showed off this one, there were like some preview pages we were allowed to show as a shop. And like one of them was this one where you had Aphrodite, I believe it was her face in the middle. But since it was a picture on the internet, it looked perfect and beautiful, and everyone was like, "Wow, it's looked amazing." And it does.
And you're like, "Want."
Phenomenal. I think when they make this into a hardcover, I think they're going to fix that. Honestly, they do that a lot because that's going to be the more premium format. But yeah, want.
Yeah, I mean, the art and the layouts alone, I felt like I was going to be super confused with the paneling.
Yeah,
I'm shocked that I felt like I did not read it out of order.
Yeah, same.
Because it that is a testament.
They did it perfectly though.
Because it literally, Jennifer was just talking about how it's kind of like some of you're reading like this across the page, others you're reading it up then down and then up and then down, and then some And I
Their
found
layout game was
myself
strong.
I found myself following it very well, and I'm not good at that. I do that a lot of times with layouts where I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Oh shoot, I read 4
I
panels.
hate when I do that. I feel
I'm
so
like-
dumb whenever I do
I
that.
feel really dumb then.
Yeah.
And
Like,
I
I've been
felt
doing
like
this for how long?
when I looked at this book, when I just kind of flipped through to see it originally, just a glance, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be tough for me. And
I'm
this
so
is the last
glad.
book I read of the week too,
Oh.
because I was like, I need to just give it some time. And I will say though, the art is fantastic and it's beautiful. Like I know some people said in the chat that they're trade waiting. I mean, for $7.99, I'd get it just to look at the beauty
Yeah.
of it because you're
Yeah.
not going to get
Reasonably
issue
for-
2 doesn't come out until spring of 2022. So you've got time. So
the art
if you're
version
trade
was so
waiting, just pick
cool.
up the issue because it's beautiful to read and it's a good story.
Mm-hmm.
It's also like a lot of these Black Label, like the big ones, are obscenely wordy because they're so thick. Like obviously there's more pages, so there's going to be more words, but also like usually there's just so many more words on the pages. But this one, it wasn't that way. I don't know. The art did a lot of the talking. Obviously there were plenty of words as well, but it was so cohesive and it went well together, and it didn't feel like I was just reading a book with pictures. Like it was so perfect.
Anytime I read a Kelly Sue DeConnick book, and I feel this especially reading Pretty Deadly with Emma Rios, I feel like I'm being read a bedtime story, and I feel like this would be Kelly Sue DeConnick's, because a couple years ago, whenever she was writing Aquaman, she really went into she was reading a lot of mythology and like doing research with mythology, and I feel like this goes so much into the mythology of the like Amazons, Greek mythology, all of that, and I feel like I'm being told a bedtime story with this, but with just absolutely beautiful artwork.
Yeah, you can have a
This
bedtime
is
story
the
with
bedtime
Zeus's
story that
bulge.
they would read to Diana. They'd be like, all right, Diana, let us read you this.
This is
bedtime
how
story."
Yeah,
women
yep.
suffer.
I would say that if anyone likes this and wants an R-rated version of this, I would highly recommend Odyssey by her husband Matt Fraction and
Christian Ward? Oh
Chris
my
Ward,
goodness.
because it takes Homer's Odyssey, gender bends it, so like all of the characters are gender swapped, and then it's in space and it's this like weird cosmic artwork, but it's very sexualized, and I love it. But
Christian Ward does great cosmic
Is
art.
that
and
an
that
image
actually does
book?
great sex books.
Jennifer, is
Yeah.
that image?
yeah, yep,
Okay, because I think I have
the like image first one,
Yep,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I remember.
because I
That
It's
think
also weird. It's like ODY-C.
ODYC. Yep.
Oh, because Christian Ward is the artist. That's why
Mhm.
Tessa and you both love it.
Yep. And I think in that image first, there's probably the first issue of Bitch Planet as well in that version,
Yep.
which is also by Kelly Sue DeConnick, which one of my favorites.
And this is, but this one I love. I wish more
I've
companies
never seen
did
that
stuff like this. They put all their first issues of like Birthright, Bitch Planet, Copperhead, Descender, Humans, Nowhere Men, ODYC, Sunstone, Wayward were all there. I found out about Birthright through this, and I started to read that series, and I really got hooked into it. So
I'm gonna order that from your shop. I've never seen it
I
before.
wish more companies did these first, because I think
DC does it. DC did all the #1s for Nikuchi 2, and I believe they did it for
Okay.
Rebirth as well.
I feel like indies would really thrive from this because these were
Yeah.
also it was a $9.99 or $8. This trade right here was $5.99 for the
That's
third
so
one.
big.
And it had Criminal, Gideon Falls, Ice Cream Man 1, Oblivion Song, Trees Unnatural. Like, if you can't find something that you like there for $6, come on.
Yeah.
I think there'd be a lot more. I think a lot more indie publishers would benefit from that move. Because I got hooked on a couple series that I just hadn't read yet, and I'm like, oh well, I'll see which. I kind of did this as like, I'll see which one I want to read. So
I've never seen that before. I'm gonna order them for my shops. That sounds really cool. All right.
I feel like I need to specifically point out about Wonder Woman Historia. From my perspective, I'm kind of similar to John. I knew who Kelly Sue DeConnick was. I had never read anything of hers. This is my first exposure to Phil Jimenez's artwork, and I don't know a lot about Wonder Woman. I don't have a lot of like interest, but I've been actively trying to expand that corner of DC specifically, and I'm glad that I didn't flip through this book before starting to read it, because I had no idea what I was expecting. And it kind of feeds into that a little bit, actually, because you open it up and the first page is just black with text. And then you turn the page and it just blasts you in the face with like the most gorgeous artwork you've ever seen. And like every time I turn the page, you get like, I definitely made like noises every time.
So I want to say I was with Ryan as he was reading these, and he was just like, all right, cool. And he read this one, and he was just like, oh, wow. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God. It was just like, every time we just commentary on it. And he put it down and he was just like, I need to go take a walk or something. That was like an experience.
Yeah.
I was curious to see what you thought about this, because literally you started the show, Ryan, by saying, I really don't like the gods and goddesses mythos. And then I'm like, so where are we going to go with this story?
Right, and that's all this book is. It's definitely, like you guys were saying, it's like a bedtime story that they would have read to Diana or something. This is just like the Bible for Amazons, basically. Like, it explains how the female gods got fed up with they rightfully got fed up with the terrible treatment of women and, women gods in general. And like, they go to Zeus and he's like, yeah, no, thanks, little girl, but back to your hole, go back to the kitchen or whatever.
Justice. So I know what's just.
So all the ladies basically meet in secret and form the island of Themis, the Wonder Woman Island.
Wonder Woman Island.
Thank you. It's just it's like part God story but part origin story of the island itself. And as if I'm not mistaken, Diana doesn't appear anywhere in this book. Is she the baby?
Her in the beginning. That's it.
She's not the baby in this book, right?
No,
she shouldn't.
Okay.
Shouldn't be. No.
Yeah, I assume she'll be in here somewhere because it's called Wonder Woman Historia.
Maybe they'll just mention her once a book and that's it. I really adore how they portray Artemis, how she's just like a wild child. Like she's just like when she was with all the other like adults, I noticed that she had like 1 foot each on like a hog or something. She was just like, so she looked like she was as tall as everyone else, but she just got hair crazy. She's just standing on things. She's like, let's fight, let's go. I'm down. Like,
yep,
I like her a lot.
Yeah, the character designs were really good, and they had a few pages at the back too.
Diverse.
All those like kind of design blurbs in the back, like the last like 5 pages were just like, here's everybody in the book, and here's a little blurb about them, and here's what they all look like.
Sketches and stuff.
Just kind of helpful too.
I think they're doing it on like the toned paper to make it seem very, like old artifact.
Like parchment paper.
Yeah, exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
I'm kind of disappointed because I feel like, John, I know that your daughters are into like kind of mythology type stuff, and I feel like
Kate would love this.
I 100%. I feel like Kate would really, really like this book. So, hey, John, I actually have some stuff to send you and your girls. So I'm going to go ahead and throw a copy of this in there. So I'll try to send that out this week. So
there is, I believe, one curse in it, if that is an issue. I believe there is. I think there's
his
one.
Kids watch Jennifer's show.
Yeah, if that tells you anything. Yeah.
Also, a Zeus bulge. I don't know if that's an issue.
That is true. I'll go ahead and
just
I'll
scribble right over it. You're fine.
I'll do a what is it? Batman Damned second printing edit.
Tessa, so can you send Jennifer your Post-it note that says I like butts and cover up the bulge with that?
Yeah, perfect. So I do. Oh boy, when I first started working at Cloud, there was someone who was very religious, but he was also very into comics. He went to be a pastor and stuff, but he read Saga because Saga's fantastic. And then one time I was looking over at his books and I discovered that he got the trades. He censored everything, so he would black out any curse words, but also like really early on there's that like giant with his giant, and just the whole page was just Sharpie. I was like, why are you even reading this?
Yeah. But maybe well, I was gonna say like, well, maybe that'll just be, I don't know. If that's the most R-rated thing that you read, I think that, you're doing okay, I guess.
No, it was just like looking at it and seeing like sometimes like almost entire, like the very first words of that book were like, am I shitting myself? I feel like I'm shitting myself. Like, so
and it just gets worse from there.
And also though, don't you have to be watching it or looking at it?
That was my point. I tried to ask him and then he like just kind of got nervous. Something else.
Wouldn't it be kind of funny if he was like, can I like pay you to like do the dirty work and like censor it for me?
I need more censorship in my life.
And then you put like a stamp on it that says approved by the Comic Code Authority.
Oh, Oh God, can you imagine Saga? Approved by the comic book?
Approved by this Tessa censorship.
Yeah.
That's a hole that needs to be filled in the
Yeah, I
comic
can
world.
for an hourly rate. I can censor any of your books if you guys need.
Okay.
But I'm just censoring what I don't want you to see. It's not necessarily inappropriate.
Take
things.
all of the extra censoring that you do and just add it to another book and send that book to me.
Just block out everything except the giant's penis.
And
So
then
to be fair,
send
that
that
is the entire page, though.
Yeah.
This is a great show.
Dear
Well,
Jennifer,
I'm glad to
here
know
is
that,
a
I'm
Zeus
glad to
bulge
know
for
that we
you.
didn't convince John to
Yeah.
treat his kids to a great book. But
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't think John is able to be convinced about anything.
That is
Well,
true.
I will say this. I told John he has to pick up a book because he needs to, and I'm going to see if he follows through on it or not tonight. So this weekend. So
These do make really beautiful hardcovers. Like I've been getting all of the Black Label hardcovers, except I skipped Damp, but they're all really nice. Like it's some of the nicest stuff that DC does. They make really nice hardcovers and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm really excited.
Yes,
for
absolutes. Also, their deluxe editions. They're all pretty, Ryan.
bringing it back to our Tom King talk. The Strange Adventure hardcover comes out next Wednesday, and I
I'm so
pre-ordered it.
excited for it.
And it
looks
looks
nice.
so like I pre-order and the pictures look beautiful. I can't wait to hold it in my hands because I'm like, oh my gosh, this
I
is
saw
great.
it, I think, on Mitch Jared's Instagram, and I was just like, oh my God, I need that.
I think I saw Mitch post about it, and I instantly went to my previews online and was like, I'm buying that.
Beep, 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 beep.
I haven't even finished the story, and I was just like, buy the hardcover. It's going to be great.
Actually, I think it's in 2 weeks. I think Rorschach comes out next week, I think, and then I think it's Strange Adventures later. But
Oh, good.
either
2
way.
weeks in a row.
Yep, it is. I know it's back-to-back weeks, basically, so.
DC just likes to go pow pow to your wallet.
Annuals, hardcover.
Don't worry, guys. It's not like a month of major holidays where we spend.
They're
a bunch
like,
of money on
oh,
everything."
cool.
Yeah.
We know everyone who buys annuals. We'll just drop it all at the same time. Oh, and I know there's a select group of people that really love Tom King books, so we're just that are waiting for the hardcover. So guess what? Here's a hardcover this week. Next week, you get a hardcover again.
Yeah, anyone who buys the Tom King hardcovers probably just gets them all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of
one
an all or
customer
nothing
who gets
writer.
all the DC annuals, and this week he was just like, "Oh my God, it's a lot of books."
Yeah.
We have to pick favorite art and favorite.
You're
cover.
the one who remembered.
I do. It's I'm pretty cool. So like
Okay.
I remember stuff. That's what cool
So
kids do.
we're doing art and we're doing cover.
Do we just
To
all
start.
do cover at the same time? Because I feel like all of our
We
covers
do
are
art and
the
cover
same.
at the same time, and then we go around and do our pick of the week.
Got you.
I forget which. Oh, I do. I remember.
This is tough.
Oh, are you ready, Jennifer?
Mhm.
Okay, go for it then.
This is totally just going to be spoiler alert. And seriously, so this was my cover of the week. It was also my interior artwork of the week, and it's my pick of the week. If you can kind of see that cover, just see that boss ass lady right there. Man, this book killed. And yeah, one of the things that I forgot to mention when we were talking about this is that the interior artwork, it's just so beautiful and so dynamic. But seriously, go and pick it up. But what I forgot to mention was that this book reminded me a lot of the interior artwork of Echolands by J.H.
Okay.
Williams
Yeah.
III.
Yeah. I agree. I concur.
You can minimize me now.
You are maximized. We're just
Thank
all together.
you. Thank you.
Take over my channel.
Please read this, everyone.
See, I'm struggling to not do that exact same thing because that kind of takes.
Sorry.
It's
I'm
lame when
flipping
we all pick the
I'm
same
flipping
stuff.
it a little bit.
Yeah.
Not completely.
I have a
I
little wiggle
thought
room.
this was going to be like everyone's favorite cover, honestly.
Mine's in my shop, so I can't say.
I figured you were going to be the one that didn't do it, but I thought everyone else was going to be like this, and you were going to be like,
Yeah.
wait, I don't have mine because I don't like
I
to
don't-
support books.
No, I
don't
do.
like
I just
Floor anymore.
I'm cheap, and if I can spread out my spending a little bit. This is my interior art of the week, easily.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Mhm.
can't not pick that.
I can't not pick that.
But I also see Tessa showing up Human Target, and like as far as interiors go,
That's
like,
that's
I
the cover.
really-
This is my cover of the week.
This is my interior art of the week and my pick of the
Yeah,
week. I don't think it's the best. It's my favorite. I did present that caveat at the beginning.
Yeah, you
I
did.
do not think this is the best. I definitely think Historia is probably the best, but this was my favorite because it just gave me all the good feels. It feels like a new comfort movie, but like a comfort book for me. Like I could just, as soon as I finished it, I was like, I just want to start over from the cover again, and I just want to read it again. I don't know. I really like it.
I read issue 1 and issue 2 back to back, and I loved how in issue 1, it starts. The opening is the end. It starts with the end of the story, and then it rewinds day by day by day by day, and then to bring you back to the first day, which is the first issue. But
Typical Tom King. He can never tell his story A to B.
well, no,
Tom King, you start at the beginning.
But there was a little blurb, and I made sure to pay attention to the one from day 2, and like the dialogue from that speech bubble was in issue 2. Like they're actually.
This is going to be amazing to reread. Like I'm going to read this in single issues, and then obviously I'll get the beautiful hardcover that will eventually come out, and I think I'm going to read it again. It's just going to be like a glorious experience.
Yeah, I really struggled with what to pick, but I think I do have to go with the Jenny Frison for the cover. But as far as interior art goes, I can't not pick Wonder Woman Historia, even though I love what Smallwood's doing here with Human Target.
Same. I think any other week.
Easy pick if it wasn't on the same week.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think that I could cheat and say interiors for this, just for like pretty Christian Ward, and then Josh Middleton's my favorite artist. He did interiors.
Yeah.
I feel like I could cheat and say some pages of this would be my favorite interior, but some pages would absolutely not.
Oh,
I see. We're just like sidekicks now.
yeah, basically.
Yeah.
This
We're your
is the
backups.
Ryan Show.
Let's do a little Brady Bunch.
This already feels too much like Brady Bunch. Is that a 9-panel Tom King layout, the Brady Bunch? Are there 9 of them?
Oh God, you are such a dork.
That'll be his next comic. Just do a dark Brady Bunch
comic.
I mean,
Actually,
It's told
as long as we have a DC, that could happen.
I would really read that. Actually, that'd be fun.
told by Alice, and it starts when like they all die,
With
and
their
then
murder.
she's retelling the story.
It's going to be written Heroes in Crisis style, where they just all go to the booth and talk about what happened.
Oh, hot take, but I liked Heroes in Crisis.
I didn't hate it.
Right? It might also be because I didn't do the Tom King thing where I read in single issues. Like I read it all together, so maybe that made me appreciate it. I don't know.
I think that was my first one in single issues. But
Well, that's it, right? Did everybody pick their favorite books?
oh,
It's kind of unanimous, right?
I will say, just because going to be different, I will say I thoroughly enjoyed King of Spies this week.
I haven't read it yet because mine was delayed.
So
I love Matteo Scalera.
Yeah, and
I don't know his name.
the art pairs so nicely with
anything
Millar's writing. It's kind of
Oh, okay.
what's
it's
in there?
I don't have to describe it because I just showed it to you, but they're not proportionately drawn as well, but it works really well for it. It's a very Kingsman style vibe. Reading this, it's a spy, there's a lot of violence and over the top violence, but I love a good, just like old school kind of spy violent James Bond vibes, Kingsman vibes, like that works. If you don't like the world of like Kingsman, this isn't going to probably be a book for you, but yeah, sorry. I will say this: I don't think it's as over the top as Kingsman is.
Yeah, that was a little much. I didn't read the book. I didn't realize it was a comic, but the movie didn't do it for me.
So the book is not as over. The book is over the top, but it's not as over the top as the movie took it to. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm super into that cover too.
Yeah, this cover also was a very dope cover. I love.
There was one of the other cover I was told that I needed to buy because it's very much like Zaddy King of Spies. Like it's kind of a old man thirst trap.
Ooh, that's my favorite.
I mean, he's an old man for sure, and he can be a thirst trap.
So you guys saw the Robin's Babs Tarr Nightwing thirst trap? Like that's all it was. It's for there's a print for sale on her shop right now. That it's also called just like Nightwing thirst trap or something. Like no one's hiding it
For good reason.
Yeah, I kind of want it.
That's a good question, Jen.
I am not. I was thinking about it. One, I don't actually have a car, so if I was going to go north, it would be like hitchhiking or something, or taking a
That's
train.
right.
Yeah, I'm just not doing that. So, anyways, I was thinking about going to Emerald City, but won't.
Jealous.
That's
Yeah.
all right. I'm going tomorrow.
Good.
Hopefully.
Also, I didn't buy tickets, and then all this stuff with like the Omicron variant came out, and I'm like, nah, my ass is just going to stay home this week.
I always thought it was called Omnicron, like some kind of transformer. It's a really weird name.
Me too.
Yeah.
I don't know. My friend thought it was Omarion and started to make like B2K memes and stuff like that and things. But
Jennifer, have you done any cons since COVID?
I did Rose City. Rose City Con was the first convention that I went to here on the West Coast, because I only moved here like 2 years ago, and then it was the first convention that I went to here in Portland.
I miss cons. I haven't gone since before
Yeah.
this.
After seeing the like absolute buttload of stuff that Mars got from Baltimore when she told me that there was $5 trades, and she's like, yeah, I spent like $60. I'm like,
oh, I have $5 bins of trades at my store just all year round. We have just, like, long boxes full of them, and also like $1 bin comics.
For the record, Tessa's shop is like, I'm
Yeah, my
saying
shop's
this
just like really
unbiased.
cool. So
Her shop is really cool, and I don't just say that because she's awesome, but like it is an awesome shop.
in Pennsylvania, right?
yeah,
It's really far
Okay.
away from us.
you know, it's not. Find an excuse to get there and then go there. Like it's.
Yeah.
It is
I mean,
Pennsylvania.
so I know someone's being convinced to come out to Baltimore next year. So maybe you just come out a little bit earlier. We stop off at Pennsylvania. Then I'll migrate over to Baltimore.
Are you doing Baltimore Comic Con?
I'm gonna try to.
Mars is pushing hard.
Yeah.
I've already convinced my wife, and I told my wife, I said I'm going again, and I said you're coming with me this year because I think she is now has loved meeting the people in the community. So Sammy,
I've always wanted to go to Baltimore Comic Con.
Hello.
But yeah, just let me know. I'll just let you guys in before hours. You can get a secret tour. We got two.
Oh,
two
hell
shops,
yeah.
too. We have ones like half an hour apart from each other. So theoretically, you can hit us.
2 shops.
Soon we'll just take over the world and have 60.
Yeah.
Working on it.
Well, that's a good note to end on. Unless anyone
Yeah,
else
like
has
that you're just
anything.
already packing up and doing work while everyone's
Well,
chatting.
he
Like, I'm
does
done.
this. Have you never watched Comic Con Live? This is what he does every episode
Yeah.
during the show.
I can't leave them out of the bags. It's too precious.
Yeah, of course. Those
They must be preserved.
I know. I read all my books. All my books are already in bags and boards this week. I'm so excited. I'm on top of my game this week. I've
Good
never
job,
felt this
everybody.
put together.
Done. Done and done. Well, good show. That was fun.
Good show.
We don't need no stinking Will.
I mean, we miss
Although-
you, Will.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
he
missed
is
you,
missed.
Will.
I like how Jennifer.
We know you're watching. He's silently just crying because he's like, I actually got grounded, and I couldn't be on them. Just
No,
kidding, I
what's
don't
going to
think-
happen is Will's going to be watching this on the rewind at 4 a.m. when he's on the bus to go to a wrestling meet.
That's true.
You think he watches you losers? Okay, he's in like the big game now.
That is
He's
true.
one
He
of the beyond
graduated
guys,
from us.
yeah. You guys
I know
are like
Will
his
still
loser
likes
friends that he'll like say hi to when he's back in town.
Yeah.
Remember us? Yeah. No.
But he
hey,
doesn't hang
guys.
out with, but he just bumps into us at like the grocery store.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like invite us to hang out. Yeah.
He'll be like, "Hey guys, I miss you so much. Oh, I gotta go."
I mean, at least, hey, I'm just glad that he's acknowledging me in the grocery store. Usually, when I'm in a grocery store and if I see someone that I didn't recognize, I try to
Other
go
way.
down the next
Oh,
aisle
yeah.
and circle around. Because, like, I'm in a grocery store. I'm on a mission. I don't want to talk to you. I don't care who you are.
Oh
Sorry.
my god, I haven't seen you in so long. Someone came into my work the other day and they're like, "Oh my god, Tess, I haven't seen you in so long. Oh my god." No idea who she is. Still have no
That was
idea.
it.
I've never seen her in my life. Like,
Hope you're not watching.
Yeah, she's watching right now, and she's like, "That was me."
nobody in my real life knows about my Instagram.
Oh,
I have like 4 friends and my dad who follows my Instagram.
Same.
wow.
Yeah.
Retweet.
Nobody can know that I'm a nerd. That's embarrassing.
Even though your Instagram name is Tessa is a nerd.
Tessa is most definitely not a nerd. It should be the new one.
Yeah.
That's my like personal Instagram. I'm not a nerd. I'm like really cool.
Tessa is super cool.
Yeah, nerds are lame. Well, thanks for inviting me on.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming on the show with us. We're
enjoy any
probably
chance
going to
to
have to
talk about
have you on a lot more often because we aren't going to have Will for a while.
And having
Well,
3
I have
squares
no
on here
life,
is just
so-
no
It's
good.
awkward. Yeah.
We need 4.
Um, I
4.
Yeah,
am.
4 fits
I don't
really
know
well.
what our plans are, but I am out next week. We have a charity dinner that we're going to.
Charity.
Are you gonna
Oh,
like
yeah.
dress up? And I feel like this is also a villain origin story.
Yeah.
Charity
Yeah.
ball. Watch out for any henchman from Gotham
Yeah.
City. This is always
Mhm.
Listen, if a villain hijacked a charity ball in Columbus, Ohio, I'd be thrilled. Okay?
You'd be so excited. You'd be like, finally.
But
Can
yes,
you imagine everyone there? Like, they would just stop and watch and be like, why?
I'm
What are
like,
you
guys,
doing
I know
here?"
what's going on. I know how to handle this. I've read the comics, and I'd be the first one dead. And like,
Mr. Freeze is just gonna bust in with a big ice gun looking for the diamonds.
but guys, I
And
got
you got your
It's
bat
like
skates,
$17.
so you're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I gotta run. I'm so
Whatever.
sorry.
Good timing.
bye.
Bye.
I'll just hit the button. I'll end it.